Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Create Your Life series, where we help you maximize your potential and results in the area of personal development, entrepreneurship, and travel. And I'm your host, Kevin Y. Brown.
Create your life.
Crée ta propre vie.
Create your life.
创造你的生活。
Create your life.
Crea la tua vita.
Create your life.
Und skip your liver.
You better create your life.
Create your life.
Create la vie.
Create your life.
Create your life.
Beautiful people, this is the Create Your Life series. I'm your host, Kevin Y. Brown, and today is an amazing day. It's actually a holiday here in the States, but you know what? We don't take those off. We're working. You know, we're all about building a portfolio of work. You know what I mean? What does our life look like? You know what I mean? What is our life's work? And with that, you know, that requires consistency. And when we're talking about consistency, you know, it's something that I battle with, you know, and that I have my ups and downs with. And so that's what we want to talk about today on today's show is, you know, consistency and why it's so important. And I also want to give you my top tips and strategies in order to stay consistent. Because like I said, I battle with it. You know, I have my ups and downs and things like that. But at the same time, you know, we're human. You know, we have to forgive ourselves and we have to continue to push forward on a daily basis in order to continue to keep working and keep becoming and getting better. And I'm just super excited about that and super excited to share this information with you. And I'm even going to, you know, give you my new and improved morning routine, which I think you'll definitely love, but also to, you know, tell you why I struggle with certain things. And, you know, truth of the matter is that I'm an artist at heart. You know, and that doing things consistently or, you know, doing the same routines, you know, sometimes it bothers me. It just, you know, it's not my innate nature, but I do know that I have to complete things and do things overall according to deadlines and such. And for that reason, you know, I really want to be transparent with you and share my battles and adjustments that I have to make sometimes, you know, and at the same time, you know, I still do. You know, even though I may not feel like doing something, I literally still have to get it done, especially, you know, when people are dependent on me and we have to move forward because as a team, we're looking to make something happen and really reach a common goal. And consistency has really been my friend over the course of my life, you know, and consistently going after the things that I've wanted and really making these efforts, right? Because I'm going to, if I want something, I'm going to go hard at it every single day. You know, and it's just the honest truth that consistency, you know, it wins the war over time, you know, and a lot of times, you know, the war that we're fighting is with ourselves within. It doesn't have to be a negative thing, but, you know, we're fighting to remain consistent because there's so many other factors that are playing a part in trying to keep us from being able to do so. Like I was literally today, I was at home and I was like, you know what, today's a holiday. I could get away with not coming in. And, you know, I was speaking with someone near and dear to me and, you know, she was saying, hey, you know what, as long as you're not going to regret it later on, then, you know, you can do that. And I sat there for a while and I said, you know what, this is actually a privilege to be on air in New York City. Let me not take this for granted. Let me go ahead and move forward and, you know, keep pushing for this. And I thought about, you know, the responsibility because I have interns, because I have an administrative assistant. Like they're going to be looking for, you know, the consistency and the fact that they, you know, get the file tomorrow. It has to be edited. It has to, you know, you have to take your show notes and things like that. And for me not to show up and do my part affects my entire team. And I think that it affects your leadership as well. And so, you know, sometimes you have to trick yourself and put yourself into situations and into positions where you're forced to be consistent because you're putting your behind on the line. And that I love. That has to happen. Something that I'm super proud of, something that I said was going to happen when we first started the show 2 years ago. And the reason why we were able to even have a seat at the table and have that conversation is because of consistency. being consistent and really, really sticking to it, and, coming in and doing the shows on Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve, sacrificing amazing New York summer days, to be here in the studio and be prepared and do all of the back end work and create the social media graphics and all of the stuff and all of the things that it takes in order to run a successful show. Because here at the Create Your Life series, I don't run this show, and we don't run the show as if it's just a show. We run it as it's a business. There are moving parts, and there are standard operating procedures and tasks and stuff like that, and checklists that have to be checked off every single week. And for us to get to this level where we're currently going to make the announcement about, it took a lot of consistency and it took a lot of sacrifice. So I think that in consistency, you have to be willing to sacrifice, and that one of the most important aspects of that is really understanding why that you're doing it, why you're doing what you're doing. And that's what's going to have you showing up every single, time that you need to. And that's what drove me here is, hey, you know what? Not only do I have a team dependent on me, the listeners, the Create Your Life family. Now, even if nobody's listening, today, because nobody else is in the studio with me right now. Everybody else on the team has a day off. But even though nobody may even be listening now, that doesn't mean that the podcast episode is not going to be downloaded. That doesn't mean that the podcast episode, we have a schedule. So everything needs to come out according to schedule. So I can't take the day off because, hey, you need this information, and it doesn't matter at what time you actually obtain it and, retain it, listen and retain it, because you're still going to want it, and it has to be there for you because I am in service to you, Create Your Life family. And that's really, what it's about. So I'm going to cut to a quick musical break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to jump into this because I've actually done some research and found some interesting articles on a couple of different things and a couple of different aspects of being consistent. So we definitely have some different points of views on this. And I think that is something to be cherished, and that, we'll be able to relish in it and actually have fun in. So I'm super excited about it. I hope that you're super excited about it because, that's essentially, what it's all about. Beautiful people, this is the Create Your Life series. I'm your host, Kevin Y. Brown, and one of the gentlemen from our Facebook Live actually just called in. Sir, can you please tell us who you are and where you're calling from?
Joe Shea Joy from Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Milwaukee, Wisconsin, the great Midwest. Loving it. Duce, man, what made you call in today? And tell us, a little bit about, your journey of being consistent.
Well, what made me call in is one of the things you said of the question you proposed of 10 ways you stay consistent. And one of the ways I stay consistent is with a routine of waking up with a morning prayer.
Okay.
And it kind of sets my day. Mm-hmm. Without that, I don't have structure in my day. Got you.
Okay. Makes sense. Yeah. So the morning routine and having that morning prayer is really what sets your days apart. For some odd reason, let's say you have to wake up and you jump out of bed, and it's one of those days where you kind of like you bust out and you're in reaction mode. How does that affect your day?
So what I do if I don't get to my morning prayer,
right?
Because it'll be very distracting for me. Mm-hmm. I don't function until I at least get one positive quote in for the day.
Oh, got you. Okay,
so I have something that alerts me from my phone in the middle of the day. They'll say, "Here's your quote for the day. This is what you live by, or this is what you're doing, or this is why you do what you do."
Love it. So you have a positive quote that comes in rescue, and you have an alarm. What is the app, or what is it that you're using in order to get that positive quote on a daily basis?
So it's a Facebook group. I don't remember the full name of the Facebook group, but they post quotes every day. Mm-hmm. And it's a spiritual Facebook group. It's not a particular religion. They just post different quotes on there every day.
Okay, awesome. Love it. I love it. All right, cool. Well, Doshi, thank you so much for calling in. Would you like to shout anybody out? I mean, tell us, give some love to your people, man. I love the fact that you called in. I love the fact that you're telling us, you have a spiritual group that keeps you accountable for you to, keep and stay positive and consistent in your life's journey. Shout out some of your people.
I would like to give a shout out to the University of Wisconsin,
Yes, sir.
to the Child Welfare Partnership for nominating me with Foster Club as one of the most successful youth of the year. So I would like to give a shout out to them for that, and also give a shout out to the Wisconsin Youth Advisory Council team and advocate team for advocating for foster youth and for encouraging me to still keep going.
Congratulations, Dosha. I'm so proud of you, man. I know I met you, you know what I mean, years back. And, you know, you were a young man, you know, working to find your way. And you've done so, man. I'm super excited about what's coming up for you. You got to keep me posted and in the loop.
And one more shout out to Springfield College Milwaukee campus for helping me get through my bachelor's degree, which is on April 27th. I walk across the stage. Okay.
Yeah. Well, shout out to that university as well, man. Thank you so much for calling in and continue to sex to you.
Talk to you later.
All right. Well, beautiful people, you heard it here first. Mr. Duche Joy, he called in and he said, hey, you know what? It's his morning routine. And, you know, waking up and having that prayer is what really helps him to stay consistent. And he said on those days where he's not consistent, he still, you know, has this accountability group that's holding him consistent. Hold on. We have another caller on the line. Caller, are you there?
I am here. How are you?
I'm doing good. Please tell us who you are and where you calling in from.
My name is Tanisha. I'm calling from Queens, New York.
Queens, New York. Hey, local. What's up?
How are you?
I'm doing great. Tanisha, thank you so much for calling in. What made you call in? And, you know, tell us some of your secrets about, you know, consistency.
In my life, I have to be consistent because of everything that's on my plate. So if I'm not consistent, my goals are not going to be met. And it may sound a little bit cliche, but, I'm responsible at work for a caseload of people. I'm responsible in my home for my child, and I'm a caregiver to my aging father.
Okay.
So I have to be consistent, or it's not going to get accomplished.
No, absolutely.
And also church helps me, keeps me aligned. I have older siblings that live out of state, and they help by giving me a lot of moral support and spiritual support, too.
Those things definitely matter. Moral, spiritual support. And you said that you have to be consistent at work because you need to take care of your child and then also, you know, your father.
Yes. My work is my caseload. I'm a case manager.
Okay. And on those days where you're not able to, like where things might be coming at you faster than you might be prepared for, what are some of the things or some of the habits that you take in order to you know what I mean, to remain consistent even though everything's coming against you or coming at you at that time?
Sometimes I have to take a step back. I have to put everything on pause and do some self-care. So I'm fortunate enough to have people I could call to step in when I'm not up to par. So self-care, I'll call a friend and she may come over and help out with my father, or I'll call the home health aid service and they'll give me some extra hours, things like that. So self-care, and that's just whether sitting in my car, reading my book, going to the library, going to the movies. I went to the movies yesterday just to get some time alone and relax and kind of just take some time to myself. I think self-care is important, and a lot of people don't make time for that because they're probably so busy working and trying to live their lives and support themselves. But you have to do self-care, and it doesn't necessarily mean spending a bunch of money. You could just take some time by yourself and kind of reflect on things.
I'm loving the way you just said that self-care does not necessarily mean that it has to be a lot of money. You know what I mean? That you have to spend a lot of money in order to just take time to yourself and really indulge in taking care of yourself. I love that.
Absolutely.
But I'm also hearing something super important from you in regards to community. You got a village around you with friends and, you know, your siblings that you said are out of town who will call in and give you words of encouragement. So it sounds like your village is really, really a part of your success and a part of your consistency.
It is, and without that, probably a lot of things wouldn't be possible, or it'd be much more difficult. So I do have support, even from friends. Yeah, I mean, and that, you know, that old proverb, it takes a village, because it really does. To get things accomplished, you need support, and I know that's not something everyone has, but support doesn't necessarily mean family. It could be colleagues, it could be your church members. You can get support from different places. Maybe you join a support group, yoga class. It's where you find support. It could vary. It doesn't have to be the ideal place people think support should come from.
I love that. All right. Well, Tanisha, thank you so much for calling in. Please shout out, give a shout out to your people and who you feel, deserves this national recognition.
Grace Gospel Church in Brooklyn, New York. And I want to shout out my father, Sam Gardner, and my sister, Tammy Gardner, who's a big support, and my great, great friend, Mr. Haskins. So thank you, Kevin, for having me.
Oh, absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for calling in. And, are you an avid listener to the show, or did you kind of just stumble upon us today? Or
I knew of it, but I hadn't tuned in. Today's actually my first day tuning in. And I'm enjoying what I'm hearing, especially the 90s music. So thank you for that.
Oh, no, absolute pleasure. Well, shoot, don't be a stranger. And, you can always call in, especially when we have some of our amazing guests or if I'm doing a solo show. So thank you so much, Tanisha, for taking the time on this beautiful day and being a part of the Create Your Life series.
And have a blessed day, Kevin. No problem.
All righty. So Create Your Life series family, before I even jumped into my 10 ways to be consistent in your life, we had 2 callers call in and they are, giving us life. 3 things that I've been able to take away from them so far, just quickly in the brief conversation that we have is number 1, Duche, he said, hey, you know what, my morning routine, waking up and having that prayer is really what sets my day apart and puts me on the right path. And then he said, you know what, if there's a day where everything's coming at me, then I'm going to go ahead and, rely on my faith-based Facebook group, which is, again, a village, a community. I rely on them to send me a quote in order to help me stay motivated and to help me be consistent in achieving excellence. And then we had Tanisha call in and, she said, hey, you know what? One of the big things that she does in order to remain consistent is take care of herself. She says that, she might go to the library, might just take a couple minutes in her car, go to the movies, and just have some time to herself. But she also said as well that when things are coming at her fast and stuff might get tough, that it's her community, her village, that really steps in and helps her to accomplish and make some amazing things happen. So beautiful people, I want to say that we're going to continue to move forward, continue to stay consistent, keep getting better and better and better. And Tanisha's hitting us up on IG Live and she's saying, thank you, Tanisha. No, thank you so much for being a part of the show. That's what we want. We want more consistency with you all, our Create Your Life series family. This show is not about me. This show is about you all and what's helping you and how you're creating your life. And so that's what we're about. That's the platform that we're creating. That's the platform that we are. And so let's continue to move forward and continue to make amazing things happen. So I'm going to cut to another musical break. I got some more of this great music for you all, everybody that's listening. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come back. I promise you, I'm going to give you my 10 ways on how to be consistent and stay consistent in your life. See, I can't be messing with y'all. Y'all got me out here and doing the electric slide in my chair at the studio. You know what I'm saying? It's just good jams going right now. And I almost forgot, we here to talk about consistency. You know what I mean? Tanisha, I'm blaming you right now because you got me carried away. And then we got Ty Luvin tuning in on IG Live. We got Alexis Rhodes. We got Demo Sings. Shout out to everybody who's listening live right now. So let's jump into it, y'all. All right, like I told you before, in regards to consistency, I read a blog, and this blog was on the Buffer app website, and it says that, the reason you need to let go of consistency at times, mind you, it says let go of consistency at times, is because as a founder or entrepreneur or someone who's looking to create something big, I put those other things in there. You need to act and move forward without having the complete information for each decision. And I think that that's super duper important because a lot of times, we wait and we wait and we wait. And sometimes we even waiting on someone else, to help us make a decision or for us to make a move. And in reality, we need to just jump out the window and make the move ourselves. So, and being consistent means that sometimes you're going to have to operate without all of the information. Another passage from the same website, and I say this one is more about, just when speaking on entrepreneurship, making decisions where you have 30%, where 30% of the time you will be wrong is just the pace you need to move at to make progress with the startup or with the company. And it's a change from a normal job where everything is laid out. And it also means that when you realize which were the wrong decisions, you're going to have to make changes. You're going to have to be inconsistent, right? Inconsistent with the things that were not going correctly. And so I think that that's super important. I think that one of the biggest things that people fail to realize sometimes is that being an entrepreneur is still, it still applies to life, right? So whether you starting a new company or you starting to say, hey, you know what, I'm going to create a different type of life for myself, you still in startup mode. You yourself as a person are a startup to an extent. Right. And so you need to consistently be getting better. And so realizing and recognizing that, hey, you know what? I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to do things, that might not necessarily be the best. And I have to be OK with that because I know that I'm working towards improving. And I think that that's super important. And I would have to say personally, one of my superpowers has been able to take feedback from others and to move with faith and not sight when I'm not totally informed about something. But I'll follow my gut. And I will also admit that sometimes I do wait until I have all of the info and I'm fully informed. So there's not really a right and wrong way to do things or to move forward and make progress. But moving forward and making progress is what's most important, right? We're focusing on progress, not perfection. So it's a mixed bag, and that's the beauty of it. But following your gut, you know what I mean? And a lot of times I read this quote the other day that said, you know what? A lot of times when the information or something doesn't add up, it says that it's usually because the truth is lacking. So following your gut and understanding that. And I actually had a situation a week or two ago where, someone had said some things to me that were inconsistent. And so therefore I had to alleviate myself of that situation because I realized that, hey, you know what? Your words were not consistent with your action, et cetera, et cetera. And so, I had to remove myself because I didn't want that to be a part of my life. And so that's the thing, the consistency in everything that you're doing, your words and, your actions and your thoughts. But hey, it's going to be all right. You know what I mean? There's going to be times where being inconsistent or we might need to take a break and take some time to ourselves. That's going to happen. So we are human. You know what I mean? We're not robots. And that's the beauty of who we are. That being said, without further ado, here are, my 10 ways to be more consistent in your life. Number 1, use a morning ritual. I think that this is super, super important. And it's funny that Doche, he called in and he said, hey, man, that's one of the big things that I do. He said, I have to do my morning routine. And he said that his is him literally, just that morning prayer. That one simple thing is what does it for him and what helps him. And for me, what's big for me is that I need to wake up to my daily ambitions. Right. And that's an acronym for me. And so the A is for affirmations. I listen to my affirmations every single morning. Then, my motivation, which is the M. Right. So I listen to something motivational. Then the B is my body. So therefore, I am going to take at least 15 minutes and stretch. Then the I is for investments. I, mind my bank accounts, mind my finances for a second. Then, my thankfulness. I wake up. I pray actually when I first wake up, just to thankful, to be able to hear, eat, think, smell. Those are things that, you should be very happy and thankful to have. And then my intelligence, that's the other I is, I read at least 10 pages. And then my O is organized. I get organized, organize my thoughts and things like that. And what it is that I'm supposed to be doing for the day. And then the N for nutrition. I take all of my vitamins and, make sure that I get something to eat. Because as an entrepreneur, it's very easy for me to go a day without eating. And I get in trouble for that from friends. And then my S, my schedule. I need to understand my daily schedule because if it's not on my calendar, it won't get done. And if it's not on my and if I don't check my calendar, then I will miss opportunities. And I've missed some pretty big opportunities in the past because I didn't check my calendar. So I make sure that that's a part of my morning routine. Number 2, schedule it. Put it on the calendar. I had to say that again, even though it's a part of my morning routine. I think that that's one of the ways for you to be consistent. But the trick is don't prioritize your schedule. Schedule your priorities. Love that. Number 3, do things even when you don't feel like it. That is the difference between somebody who is successfully consistent and who successfully goes out and achieves and wins this war of consistency versus those who do not. Number 4, forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for the times where you are going to fall off the wagon. Sometimes you just got to say, you know what, Kev? I didn't hit the gym, as many times as I was supposed to this week. But you know what? I'm going to hop right back up on that horse tomorrow, and I'm going to make it happen. And this is going to be, I'm still great. I can still move forward and keep making amazing things happen. Number 5, take responsibility for the process, not the results. So be consistent and be committed to the process of, I know that I need to do this in order to get here. And you'd be surprised that if you focus on the process and making progress on a consistent basis, you'd be surprised because you'll actually end up probably surpassing the results that you thought or that you set out to have. And that's big. That's major. So that being said, I mean, y'all running through, my 10 ways so quick that we're already on number 5, ready for number 6. But if you have any questions or, anything to add in about being consistent and how you're able to do so, then please call into the station, 212-650-6903. I want to shout out people on IG Live going in. Tanisha, yes, it's your fault that I was getting carried away with that cameo song. Simona Lisa, hey, how you doing? Candace, what's going on? IMJ Staggs, that's my homie. What's going on, man? Let's jump right in, before we get off the air, and let's jump right into number 6. Number 6, allow yourself to grow into who you want to be. So being consistent is one thing, but you also have to understand that, hey, you know what? I might not be this consistent right now today as I want to be or that I should be, but you know what? Let me allow Kevin or, what your name is, fill that in and say, you know what, I'm going to allow myself to become this person. And that's a part of the forgiving that I spoke about as well is, forgive yourself for the faults or the things that you may, fall short on. We all fall short of glory at some point. Number 7, post your goals and your reminders in your environment. I think that's super important. So, if you participated in my goal setting workshop that I do at the top of the year, then you know that we have this sheet that you literally write down all of your goals for the year, what it is that you're trying to accomplish, your vision statement, all of that stuff, and you're supposed to make 3 copies of it. One that you have on you, you're supposed to laminate it, right? One that you have on you consistently, one that you leave by your bedside, and one that you post up in your workplace or, another environment outside of your home that you're always at, because it needs to be in your environment for you to feel it and for you to consistently be reminded of. And you also need to do this in the, look at it before you go to bed and also first thing when you wake up in the morning. Number 8, tell your friends and social media community what you're up to. Make a day if you have to make a daily video that you will post to make yourself have to be consistent, because you know that people are going to be dependent on you. I mean, that's what we do with the show, right? That's why I had to show up today, because I know that you were dependent upon me. That's what being consistent is about. Number 9, keep your eye on your why. You know what I mean? Always keep that at the front of the mind. Like, why am I doing this? Why is it important for me to remain consistent and to remain a part of what it is that I'm doing, and, to help? So that's super, super important, is for you to keep your eye on your why. Number 10, set specific goals. I want you to be specific about what it is that you want to be consistent about. And if you do that and then you mix it with your why, then you'll consistently get up, because, hey, you know why you're doing this, and you know exactly what it is that you're supposed to be doing. And so this may come as no surprise to anybody who listens to the Create Your Life series. Yes, I've given you 10. But you know what? If I say I'm going to give you 10, then I'm going to give you more than that. So number 11, set boundaries. In order for you to be consistent, you need to set boundaries for yourself so that others do not impede upon your space of being consistent and the mind state that you need in order to do so. So I want you to set boundaries around yourself, around what you will and will not do in order to be consistent, in order to make a difference. Number 12, celebrate your wins. Some people, they celebrate the small wins up until the big one. I have a habit of celebrating it. To me, it's not done until it's done. Getting a seat at the table for the conversation is cool, but I want to reach the goal. And so that's what's big for me. You know what? You do it until it's done. Do it well or not at all. So do it all the way until it's done. And number 13, focus on progress, not perfection. It's all about getting better and becoming the person that you're trying to be. And consistency is what's really going to help you to get there, to get to that point, and to make that happen. And another thing that I think is super important, and we can call this number 14, is don't have an all or nothing mindset. That's that progress versus perfection. Just keep working and moving towards what it is that you're trying to do. And you know what number 15 is going to be? Is have a night routine. Have a night routine. Figure out what it is that helps you to become better and get up, just more energized in the morning. For me, what I've started doing is you know what? I'm not working past 10 o'clock. I've been doing that for the last couple of weeks. I didn't have a night routine, but having been doing that, it has really, really been helping me out a lot. And what happens is I actually fall asleep earlier because I used to just work, all the way up until at least 12. And then my mind would still be going. And so I'd be up for another 2 or 3 hours and probably get back up and work and stuff like that. And in reality, man, then it messes up me getting up early in the morning. So trying to shutting it down at 10, setting that boundary for myself, understanding what my nightly routine would be, is helping me to be consistent on the other aspect of the day, which is that morning into the afternoon, into the evening. So I think that that's super important for us to be able to do. So beautiful people, you've heard from our guests who have called in and had something to say and shared about, their 10 ways to achieve more consistently in their lives. And so I've given you my top 10 ways, and, secretly it was 15. So I want you to go out there and I want you to consistently achieve and be great in life and literally create your life. We got some big announcements coming up, and I'm super excited to have them for you, to give them to you. So, you're listening to 90.3 FM, the voice of Harlem. I'm your host, Kevin Y. Brown. This is the Create Your Life series, and I think that you all are amazing, and I'm so happy to be here, to have the honor to be your host on a weekly basis and to just grow right here with you. And so I'm happy. Thank you for listening to my flaws and the things that I've been wanting to do better. And beautiful people, we have a few more minutes here left in the studio. So if you want to call in, please do. 212-650-6903. Let us know how it is that you consistently achieve your goals and how you work to become consistent in your life. Beautiful people, if you enjoyed this episode of the Create Your Life series, be sure to download it from our podcast, which is available on createyourlifeseries.com, iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and Google Music. Also, be sure to leave a review of the podcast. You can catch us live on Sundays from 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time via 90.3 FM in New York, or on Facebook Live at facebook.com/KevBrown1. We encourage you to participate in the conversation on Facebook or call in at 212-650-6903. Follow us on Instagram at CYLS series and at Kevin Y. Brown. Be blessed, and we'll see you back here live next week.
Create your life. Crée ta propre vie.
Create your life.
创造你的生活。
Create your life.
Crea la tua vita.
Create your life.
Und skip your liver.
You better create your life.
Create your life.
Create la vie.
Create your life.
Create your life.